So we are here celebrating International Women's Week at the Orange Toad, which is one of Flon's favorite places to be. I know I don't think I could survive with my orange toad latte. They know I'm here pretty much every day.
True.
and so we love it. There's specialty coffees, the whole bit. But who we're here to celebrate is actually the owner, Meghan Lukowicz. Is that how you pronounce her name? I just see it in print, and you're always Meghan.
Yeah. We
your
pronounce it
name.
Lukowicz,
Yeah.
But maybe it was originally Lukowicz.
Lukowicz.
Yeah.
I'm Polish, so I always said with a Polish accent.
Yeah.
But so I was never sure. But
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So here we are, and we're wanting to celebrate women in business for this segment, but we'll be talking about women in the arts and women in wellness, and also women in the environment. But so Meghan, we'll just wait a second.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, this is good. This is really good. That means people are in and out of here all day, every day, as often as they can get in, or as fast as they can get in here. But so I remember when you first started your business in the little place around the corner with your sister.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I'm so relieved. It's the one thing, if I can have a latte, I know I can live in the north forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did that happen? Like, how did you get into business?
I was at a point in my life where I thought, what am I going to do? And so I thought, I actually wanted my mom and her friends to open up a bookstore.
Right, yeah.
And so we even went for meetings, and I said, I'll work, you guys just do it, and then I'll run it. And then they all kind of backed out, so it was up to me. So I decided I could just do a used bookstore with a very small little coffee side, takeout only, and then it just kind of just broadened, morphed. And but it was just going to be a 2-year project, just to do something for a couple of years, and then head off into the world.
Yes.
And then this is
so grateful to stick around. I tell you, it's such an important part of our community. How did you manage that transition? Do you have a degree in business? Like, I can't remember what your
No. I went to university and took a year of agriculture.
Okay. Yeah. That's into coffee.
And then I traveled.
Yeah.
And traveling, our favorite thing was the used bookstores. So then that was it. I had no education. I've taken small little classes.
I think that's so important because I find everywhere, but I find oftentimes in smaller communities, it's just, you feel like it's such a challenge to get to where you want to go. And in the northern communities, the challenge of education is actually leaving and also paying for not only the education, but the $15,000 on top of it for living expenses and everything. And I know, like, we all encourage that for our children and ourselves as well, because it's really, really important. But it's really good to know that you can aspire and be really successful at something, no matter what. If you have some kind of great idea, and if you can find the financing and the know-how to put it together, you can be successful. And you're just a wonderful example of that.
I think one of the things that I did was I took baby steps. So that might have helped me succeed, is that I didn't bite off too much. I thought, we're just going to start small. That the most greatest little location over there was a small little, very small overhead, and I was able to just grow from there and learn as I went.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you're obviously brilliant, and you have always wonderful staff, and I did see your mom doing a lot of cooking back there.
Yeah, I had so much help.
Yeah. So what do you think were like some of the challenges and successes? Like, what was let's start with challenge and we'll move to success. So what was the biggest challenge of sort of doing? Is it even like moving into a brand new place as opposed to the very first place?
Yeah, and like the challenge at start, I don't know, it was all kind of a whirlwind. I had my sister who had worked in a coffee shop, so she was helping me there, and I was kind of in charge of the behind the scenes stuff. And so learning that as you're going, I made mistakes and stuff. But the challenge, and so I don't know if I could even think of challenges then, because it just was happening.
Yes.
It was so fun, and I was single and no family. So all I did was work, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So, but then growing, of course, then the challenges, like when we moved to the bigger location, we got busier. I couldn't handle it just myself and Shannon, my sister. So then it was staff. And that's always a challenge,
Yes.
just because it's,
You have to find people.
you have to find people, and there's
They're
the training.
committed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the giving, the letting up a little bit, like was my baby and I was totally in control, and then to be able to let someone else have a little bit of that, that was a challenge for me, but so worth it, so great.
Yeah.
The staff has been just
You
amazing.
always have amazing
Yeah, I've
staff.
been so lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been the best.
And being a mom and how
Yeah.
do you fit that in?
That has been the biggest challenge, I think, for me, is that I got married, and Mike still understood that, I was focused and I could work all the time. But then when I had kids, that was hard, because they are my real babies.
Yes.
And yes.
And it's a balance.
Yeah, it's
a
hard.
balance.
Yeah, which everyone feels that, I think. Yeah.
I found that when I had, we had like 2 older kids, and then 10 years later came surprise, baby number 3, and I remember thinking that it was really important for my daughter to see that even though it's hard and messy, that women can still do the things that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
And because I thought, how do I tell her, you can do anything you want, and go and get your education, give yourself those golden years, and then travel the world. If I don't emulate that somehow, and so that's why I know for myself, it was just like, okay, let's, and I tell you, there were some times where it was like just a chaos.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And I've said this often, is that I don't feel like I'm doing either thing 100%.
Yeah.
And that's probably what everyone feels.
I think that's what
Yeah, you're
everyone
torn.
feels.
You're
Yeah.
torn, and so that's hard to kind of figure out.
Well, I think you're doing both 100%.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
I think you are. Looks at
On
So,
the outside.
what do you think was your greatest success? And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be the business. It could be just your kids. It could be anything.
Yeah, I don't know. When I look back, it's how it's evolved is pretty cool. I purchased a building that couldn't fix, so it had to come down. But at the same time, now we've moved here, and I don't know if it would have been the same if that hadn't happened. It's kind of cool how it just has all evolved, and with staff, the people I've worked with over the years are my best friends now, and I think that's a huge success for me. It's just been.
I find sometimes when there's these challenges, like I found COVID is something like that for the Flin Arts Council. It's just all of a sudden you're just boxed into a corner.
Yeah.
And so you can either stay in the corner or you can look at the other 3 sides of the building, and and then all of a sudden there seems to be this whole other perspective of opportunity if you're brave enough to look out and then just do. So so what's wonderful. So what do you think's next for your life, or your career, or your ambitions, or?
Well, I always have wanted to do more. Like, I skipped the education part.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get to the point in my life where my kids are a bit older, and then I could start to kind of get. I feel like I've gone through the steps, and we're just going. But I'd like to be a little bit more confident.
Okay.
So maybe a little bit of education I'd like to do within the business.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you could absolutely. Another amazing woman in our lives is Karen O'Brien,
Yeah.
who went back and got her not only her bachelor's in philosophy, but her master's and her doctorate.
Yeah.
And this was, after her kids were grown and out, and so.
That's nice.
And oftentimes I find women. We kind of, it ends up being something that we have to. I still want to do a master's
Yeah.
on something, anything.
Yeah.
I just love education so much. I just can't seem to find the time. And, you know, the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
In all honesty. But you know, for women and anybody in male or female, in all honesty, there's a point in your life when you can do things, and sometimes there's a point in your life, no matter where it is, whether it's young and you're stuck in COVID, to rest, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
We have to give ourselves permission for that.
Yeah, and I feel like I have been with the kids since the kids, sort of resting.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to doing exciting new things in the business. So that'll be my next.
Super excited about that.
Yeah, but not sure what it is yet.
No, I know. Well, we'll wait and see. You have
great.
decades.
Yeah.
You have decades. Well, thank you so much for the interview. We celebrate you and everything that you do for your family and your community and all your mom and your sister. This is such a trilogy of friends that have helped you through this.
It has been good. I've enjoyed every day. Of course, there's been stress and the challenges and stuff like that, but every day, the day flies by. It's fun to work here. You know, it is good. And I get to see people like you every day. And,
gosh, yeah.
And really, there are some very amazing women in this community, and
there are. It's my one worry when we were trying to think of this is that there's so many amazing women that I want to interview, and so I think it's going to be this ongoing thing. I'm just going to keep interviewing women, and so we can have them for a subsequent International Women Week celebration.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
it's great.
Well, I'm touched, but you.
Well, no, you're, like I said,
I feel like I've never done this by myself. There's been so much help. That's what I always feel like. I've had so much support, but
it's that kind of community.
Yeah.
And you're that kind of person that draws people to you.
Oh, that's nice.
So thank you again. Yeah. And back to work. There's more clients coming in.
Yeah, good.
And have a good day, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
So we are here with another amazing woman in business, the Leona Kemp in Northern Rainbow's End, which is one of the most beautiful gift stores, I would say, in Northern Manitoba. A little bit biased because I live here. And everything, the shirt I was wearing for all the interviews yesterday, I bought here.
Thanks.
And I thought, well, I should clean it, so Leona. Today.
You could probably pull anything off, Krista.
So anyways, we're going to just chat with Leona about her business. Like, it's just an extremely successful business in town, and just her journey, how she got here. So how did you manage it?
We were raised in a business. My mom and dad had a business in Wintergoses, and they had it there for years and years, and we were brought up in the business. So I always have enjoyed people, and I've enjoyed working with people, and just that's where it started. And then I had the opportunity to work for Paulette Berthel. And so she asked.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, so she asked if I'd be interested in buying the business from her.
Okay.
And Harley and I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Too young to just pack it in, so let's keep going. So we bought the business from her, so it was good.
So how long have you had it?
2002, August 1st, 2002.
So you're going to have to party, and it'll be after COVID.
Yeah, after COVID party, yep.
Yay,
to celebrate.
That'll be amazing. So, you're a mom, and you're a businesswoman, and what were your big challenges trying to fit
a grandma?
And a grandma.
Yeah.
I am too. I know it's pretty big.
Oh, yeah. The biggest challenge I think we had was when we had a fire in our first location. We were attached to Mr. Ribbs, and one day the kitchen started on fire there, and it was actually probably 2 months after we were in Dauphin with my brother-in-law who passed away. So we really took it, I was devastated because it was too much at one time.
Right.
But I think that was probably our biggest challenge. But I'm so grateful to have the family and the friends that I have, and staff. Without them, Krista, we wouldn't be here. We're very, very fortunate to have the support we do.
Well, you and and your staff, you exude that. Like, you know, it's comfortable whenever you come. I don't know, you're probably annoying because we want to chat with you a little bit and we want to, you know.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you know,
We're
it's just,
chatters.
we feel like we're at home when we come around here. You help us find things that we need. And I think that's one of the pluses of being in a small town, because you do get to, like, all the businesses in town, you get to know these people and you can almost call them up. And I know I've done in that, all of the places around here where I had to call up and say, emergency gift, forgot about it, what do you have, what do I need? Even during COVID, I remember, you know, when we were all just trying to figure out how do we keep open, like how do we do this?
That, like, COVID was a challenge for us, I have to say. We had to up our staff, even though, like, a lot of people got laid off. We had to up the staff because it's a different way of selling.
Yeah.
And we found it very, well, I shouldn't say stressful, but it was more hectic than normal because being, like, getting phone calls and trying to send pictures to customers and things like that. Yeah. And you know, so it was a little bit more hectic.
Yeah.
But having said that, we survived, and you know, we still are.
Yeah.
So bonus, right?
How do you guys, like, we all talk about it amongst ourselves, your Facebook posts, like she has the funnest Facebook posts. Like in the middle of the night, do you wake up and this is what we're going to do, or do you have somebody in the background to say, this is what you should do?
No, it's me.
Yeah, no, they're
You know
the best.
what? I always believe in a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Laughter the best medicine.
Yeah.
I remember Mom putting that into our heads. The customer's always right, and laughter the best medicine. And that's how I try and cheer people up and kind of, you know, give them the old jolly laughter thing. So, and it is in the middle of the night. I think about these things when I should be sleeping, but I don't. So, I don't know. It's just something we've started doing, and we have fun with it.
We love it. Yeah, everybody loves it. Wow, gosh. So, what are the really exciting successes that you've had? And it could be with the business, it could be personally as a woman, it could be, you know.
If I had to, like, I was thinking, if you'd ask me a question, how would you measure success? And I think measuring success is not having it all. Working towards still trying to be a better person, building a better business. Yeah, because some people think that owning a business, or you're, you know, on top of the world, you're the richest person in the world, and it's not about that. It's keep on working and keep on, you know. Success is the customers that come in because you get them back again. Yeah. Success is your family. Success is happy employees. Yes. And that's just how I look at it. You know, you just have to keep on going. Words of wisdom.
I don't know so much wisdom. No, really, truly. Yeah. So, young women that are trying to get into the business, or older women like myself that maybe are retired and are ready for something new in life. You know, there's a whole spectrum as a woman. I find that after the kids, you're kind of ready for something new. What would you advise them?
You know, never give up. Never give up, and if it's something you want to do, no matter what age it is, just try and do it, and don't stop yourself from doing it. Yeah. You know, like, there's always things that you kind of think, well, should I, shouldn't I? But you try it, and if it works, fine. If it doesn't, fine. Yeah. You know, there's always another opportunity out there somewhere else.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So I would advise, if it's a young person or an older person, if you still love doing what you're doing, like me, I still enjoy it. So, you know, it's hard to quit. It's really hard to quit. Yeah. And if it's what you want, then just go after and get it.
So just go after and get it, and follow your dreams and your passions, and speak to wise, amazing women that have all this knowledge to help you through it. And again, we celebrate you, Leona Kemp.
Thank you very much.
And for International Women's Week and celebrating women in business. Okay, so we're here with Dianne. I want to say Dianne O'Brien because you're from the famous O'Brien family.
The famous
Dianne Russell.
Dianne Russell.
From Arctic Radio, CFAR. And, you know, I've been here for 25 years, and you are kind of like the kid sister. Yeah, I know. This is official. And so feel like
That's awesome.
it's
Yes,
it's a while.
like I remember meeting you when you first came at church, and also we had a bit of a group that met at some women's houses, and we'd bring our kids there,
Right.
and that was the first time I really met you, and I can't believe it's been that long, but I guess that's
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah,
Years
that's
go
what
by.
happened.
Yeah, here we are.
The clock keeps ticking,
Yes.
Dianne.
At the time when I first met you, I believe I still owned a grocery store.
You did.
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
So talking about women in business, like what has been your trajectory? Like how did that happen? How did everything happen?
You know, the biggest thing I could say in my life, it's not the same for everybody, is I've tried to be open to opportunities when they come in front, and those opportunities have presented themselves to us over time. So we got into the grocery store business as management, and then my husband and I at the time bought in. Then there was opportunity through Curves, right?
Right, curves as
Yes, and that was really fit with my lifestyle at the time. There was nobody working at the Arts Council when I took on Curves, and thank goodness you came along, because at that time they were looking at me.
Nobody at the Arts Council.
Well, it was
like
open,
in between.
and I had worked there when I was 19.
Okay.
So and it was always my favorite job. Okay. And I was like, oh, you know, can I give that up to go to Curves and do what I'm doing? And managing people is hard. Do I want to do that? And I spent a lot of soul searching, and you know, thank goodness for the community. I went to Curves and you went to the Arts Council. I don't know what would have happened, because you hadn't put your name in the ring yet.
Yeah. I had
We're
a
all so
hard
thankful.
time deciding, you know, that I had been out of the workforce
Yeah.
for a decade, you know, with raising the first two kids, and I really just I felt like I had zero experience in anything.
Yeah, and you kind of, we look at ourselves and we're not sure what we have to bring to the table. And I think all business people, entrepreneurships, they do that because you have to be able to theoretically be kind of good at many, many, many things. And women at home tend to be good at many, many,
Many things.
And I was behind the scenes owner of a grocery store, so I wasn't active. And then
that's
I
kind
got
of
into
interesting.
Curves, and then I was asked to come to radio. And the biggest thing for me was, how can I continue to do something for a living that I have a little bit of control over, but I also get to continue to help people, and that's what brought me from Curves to radio.
Well, you know, you have been like such a resource, such a support for so many groups and so many people and so many businesses and entrepreneurs in the community. And I think that, I would imagine this is a history of your family, you know, from moving up here too.
I think so.
You know, it's
I
just
think
been
my
beautiful.
dad, more than most, had a real affinity to small business, and of course he owned a small business. So he emotionally connected with people as much as, and then I kind of ran with it. I just realized that a community isn't much without small business owners, without people. They've always amazed me, these people who are willing to reach into their own pocket, take out their own money, and put it on the table and risk it to open a business that the community will benefit from. And I find them amazing people, so I'm attracted to them. I think they're interesting and amazing.
Well, and it's interesting, the collective knowledge that is put on into a community from all these different interesting people, and I'm always sort of fascinated. I'm the same with you. I'm just starting to get into meeting some of these people that I've just been in my own little bubble really for a while, and I'm just in love with them. Like, I just find they're so. Of course, we all have our interesting personalities, but they're go-getters. They're all doers. Like like you said, they are doing. You know, and you know, and the community can really support. Yeah. You know, the community's been wonderful at supporting, I think, all of us in so many ways. So, what advice would you give to young women wanting to get into a field of business?
What advice would I give somebody? You find mentors. You don't try to reinvent the wheel. So you go and you talk to people about what it is. One of the people that I was always so intrigued with was actually Rod Gourlay, with his story of how he started, it was at the time RJ's Motel. Right. And people think he just got an idea and built it and opened it, but he spent 5.5 years researching what it means to run a hotel and restaurant. What kind of pricing for each things? How do you gauge these things? All of it. He would interview businesses right across Saskatchewan and Manitoba, finding out how they do it. He learnt from people who were doing it.
Wow.
And I really believe that that's the ticket. Sometimes we think that if we put a sign over a door and put some stuff inside, that we're good to go. And it's so upsetting when these people have invested their own money and it's not panning out, you know?
Yeah.
That's the biggest piece of advice. Don't be afraid. Know your own risk tolerance. And know that if you find support or your mentors where you need them, you can succeed. It's a bit of time.
Yeah. Wow,
It's
yeah.
not a get rich quick scheme.
No,
And that's the other
no,
thing that I always
yeah.
want people to know. That's not what it is. If you see someone golfing who owns a business, it's not because they don't have to be at work and they're just raking in the money.
Right,
It takes work.
right,
It takes work.
right. So what do you think has been your biggest challenge and your biggest success? It doesn't have to be directly related to your business, but it could be if it is. What do you think?
My biggest challenge?
Mm-hmm.
For me, over the last year, it has been learning how to get back to basics. And that's a challenge for me because I get excited and I start running ahead with things. So learning how to manage myself as much as other people. Management is not easy. And so for me, that has been, I think, it's been my biggest challenge. The other thing, I'm in sales. So
Oh, yeah, oh, Dianne.
you have
How
to
difficult.
develop
What
a
do you
very
hear?
thick skin and start to believe. I say to people now when I'm training them, I said, if you don't hear no, you're not trying hard enough. So you better be hearing no. Because the truth is, every idea you have doesn't work for everybody
Right.
else, and you need to be an asset for these people. But yeah, I've had to learn how to not need constant, you're doing a good job. Because I don't need it anymore, but boy, I used to.
Yeah.
When you're younger and, I don't know, some people just need it more than others. I needed it.
Well, and there's a certain, I think it was another conversation we had was about that kind of challenges and I actually somebody was asking me that and I remember it was the same kind of thing. It's getting a criticism or something that's about to happen and I kind of, you support yourself against the wall.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just, I appreciate it so much because that it's based in fact. There's something real there that I need
an
to
opportunity.
hear that I wasn't aware of.
What do we tell our kids or when we're raising our kids and a problem comes along? Here's an opportunity to learn something. It's all on how you look at it, and I consider it the same. Doesn't mean it always feels good.
It probably, I don't think it ever really feels good at the very beginning.
Right.
It's difficult, but yet I know it's really important and I appreciate it
I do too.
a lot.
And I think so my biggest challenge would be that, and my biggest, I don't know, success or something that makes me feel good about what I'm doing is when I can tell that businesses, because I'm going to focus on my small businesses, and that's what like my business and my sister businesses out there, whatever you call them, when I can see them taking steps forward, feeling stronger, and I see the community realizing that those businesses are a lifeblood system for the community. When I had the opportunity to tell the government 3 weeks ago now, it was the end of January, that in our community, it's not like a great big city, that when a business succeeds or a business fails, everyone feels it.
Yes.
And it affects the future of that community when you're in a community like this. It's not like if a business closes on Yonge Street in Toronto. Like I know that that's horrible for that owner, but it doesn't change Toronto.
Right.
It changes us,
Yeah.
positive, negatively. And that government official heard me. That was a big deal to me.
That is a really,
How does that happen?
really big deal.
It was a big deal.
Thank you, Dianne. Oh gosh, yeah, that is so important. That collective voice and
So
oh my gosh.
what else do I think is a celebration? Don't give up on things because it's like raising kids. I always take it back to that, but it's not instant. But if you put in the time and you put in the effort and you don't give up and you stay tenacious and you keep going, it will bear fruit.
It will bear fruit. It might be raspberries instead of strawberries, but it'll still be great fruit.
It will
So
be.
it's okay.
And we'll all celebrate with
And
you.
we'll have it, yeah, I'll get whipping cream. So, and also, I want to just thank you personally and your family for the Music on Main Street that you've done, because I think that's one of the things that is just
How exciting.
changed things.
It's
And
so exciting.
It's
and
so wonderful.
I can't wait to do more and more content. That's where the time is hard to find. But I am raising a little bit more money. We're going to extend it a little bit further because, you know, I've only done half the project really. But how exciting.
It's so wonderful. Just for if anybody's watching that's not from Flin, Flon,
Yes.
and Creighton, maybe you just want to expand
A
about that
legacy project on our main street for Doug and Donna O'Brien. And they were big community volunteers and people in our community. And we now have speakers and music that plays live up and down Main Street. And we're getting all the wrinkles out of it, but it's so exciting.
Yeah.
At certain times of year, we have special content. And other than that, the radio station plays, which I happen to have a connection to. And so did my father and
Yes.
mother, which is the other connection. But it is exciting. I really, really like it. And I'm pretty proud of it because that was like a long
That was a long journey.
That was
you
a long
know.
journey.
We have this marvelous mining Main Street here in Flin Flon, and,
Yeah.
and it goes back to, you know, the founding fathers, the early days, which is only 80 years ago. I mean, 85 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm still a baby.
But
But
you know-
as mining communities go,
Yeah.
we've had longevity, and Hud Bay, our local mine, has really
And they pitched in.
invested. Oh,
They
yeah.
pitched in because they knew my dad and they liked the idea. So they matched the donation from my mom and dad. So that got the whole project started. Yeah.
That's
And then
huge.
we've gone from there. And honestly, we also have a very unique special Main Street
We do.
that is disappearing across the world. And we still have the one street with the shops and the shopping.
The
and
long,
the-
skinny buildings.
Yes.
It's just really a precious. It's a jewel in Canada, and I
and it's
just
still the
love it.
center of our community.
It's still the center of our community.
So
and,
we are lucky, so we celebrate it.
we do. I'm a huge fan. I
Yes.
just do a big shout out to our Main Street and
Yes.
all Main Streets in Canada.
Absolutely.
Actually, because
Cheers
they
to Main
are
Streets.
the best of teas to Main
Absolutely.
Street. And Dianne, thank you so much. We honor you and we really appreciate everything you're
Thank
doing in
you.
our community. And
And thanks for doing this to recognize International Women's Day and Women's Week, I guess, in this case, because it's a big deal. It's worth doing, and I appreciate the efforts to celebrate women. So
Well, it's our
thank you.
pleasure. We're happy.
Yes.
Happy to do this.
yes,
So,
All right.
have a good day, everybody.
thank you. Cheers. Here we are. We're done.
We're here today with the fabulous Krista Lemke, who is, I guess, the creator of the hub in our area, and she'll explain more about the hub generally, and has been an entrepreneur, businesswoman all on her own as well. And we're delighted just to celebrate Krista and her achievements, and also as a representation of one of the many, many businesswomen that we have in our community and that are all around the world, actually. So, so Krista, thank you for doing this for us.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
We have a few easy questions, like what drew you to become an entrepreneur, to become a businesswoman?
Well, I mean, I watched my parents run a business for, I think it was about 30 years, really. So most of my life. I'm only 34, so, and I mean, just there's something about being able to be, like I'm a creative person, right? And so, like, I make all these things and then they just kind of sit there, so that's a good perk, right? You can just sell them off, but more than anything, it's I think about the flexibility and the freedom to just like chase whatever butterfly inspires you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really understand that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah, exactly.
So wonderful, and what a privilege, you know.
Yes,
to do that.
absolutely. Like that's, what they say, everybody says is like get paid for doing what you love, right? So like, if you can find a way to do that, do it.
And
Absolutely.
exactly, and I think sometimes just people don't realize that it is attainable. Like,
Yeah.
that is something you can do, and we're a smaller community in northern Manitoba here, but yet as there are things that people can do to sustain themselves creatively in every community, I think, in the country and here. And tell us a little bit about the hub, about what that does.
Yeah, so I still get to flex my entrepreneur muscles here, but I think honestly it's even been a little, like I would say it's been more fulfilling for me, because I get to support and help empower all these other women that want to chase the butterfly that inspires them, right? So, and I think that's really neat, and it's definitely, like I say, it's a privilege to get to support people that way. And you know what, the girls in Dauphin that are my management and stuff, they just let me run with whatever crazy idea I have in my head that day. So it's been really fun to be able to, kind of pick and choose, like, how are we setting this up? What should we have in here? All that good stuff.
Well, it's just such a beautifully creative space in here.
Yeah, we try to have like high energy.
Yes, encourage you all to just to come see, even whether you're an entrepreneur or not, to chat with people. So, what do you think were your biggest challenges that you were able to overcome?
I think probably, I was very fortunate because I had parents that were experienced in business, so I had wonderful support that way, right? And some experience, obviously, right, that I could draw from. But I know that something that was missing was like that sense of community, of being able to reach out to your other fellow female entrepreneurs and share your experiences, or, I'm really feeling this today. Because sometimes entrepreneurship obviously is challenging, and it can feel lonely when you're feeling like you're struggling with something. And often knowing, in a lot of cases, I guess, not just entrepreneurship, but knowing that you're not alone and that you can reach out to somebody and say, hey, you know what, I'm really struggling with this, or you can reach out and celebrate. I got my first sale, woo, like whatever.
Yeah.
So, like for the hub, that's what it's about. Our core values are our connection and celebration and community.
And what I find here too, that is, sorry, this is all about you, but I'm
No,
talking about the hub
sure,
here.
absolutely.
But I find that you actually providing the actual physical tools
Yes.
for people to be able to do things, which I know
Yes.
myself personally I find just so exciting, because I am not from that business background, and there's all those questions that are sort of the nitty gritty that could scare people away, actually.
Yeah, that's the
You have
thing.
a great idea, just how do you?
Where do I even start,
Where do I
right? That's
start?
where most people come in, they come in and they're like, I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Because usually we start on our own and maybe we do a little Googling or some reading or whatever. And the further you get into it, the more minutia starts coming up, and all those add up into overwhelm often.
Yes.
And so you can come here and help alleviate some of that overwhelm, because we can help you create actionable items and a timeline and break things down into chunks that feel manageable.
Okay, that's so wonderful.
Yeah.
I knew you first as a graphic artist.
Yes.
And your business, and which you're so talented in that as well. And I've hired you.
Say it again.
Several times. And so how did that morph? Like, I find that all of our journeys, whether it's in business or arts or whatever, that it's a journey. It takes you start at one place and you might branch into other places. So how did that happen for you? Like, what was your journey as Krista?
As Krista? So as Krista, my dream was I'm really passionate, and I find it really nerdily interesting, like branding, marketing, helping people really establish an identity around themselves or their business. I did do photography as well, so I did mostly photograph weddings because I really enjoyed doing that. But even just, the simplicity of having a clean, tidy, well-shot headshot. Like, that's really important, because it's sometimes the first impression folks get of you even before they meet you in person.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you want that to reflect you and the way you want people to feel about your business and about you.
So Krista, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs, whether they're young people just starting off in their careers, or I think of people my age that are retirement age? I have a good friend that's Master Caligari that learned to become a very, very fine violin maker after his retirement. I know there's many, many women that this is when their kids are grown that they're able to explore this new, wonderful, creative side of themselves. So what advice would you have for people getting started?
I would say explore it, be brave, do the thing. Come in here, go talk to a friend that you know already does it, whatever, like, explore it. And the worst that's gonna happen is you come out on the other side and go, I either made an informed decision to move forward with it, or I found out that wasn't for me, and therefore I didn't invest a bunch in it that I didn't need to, right? But be brave, and if it's something you've always wanted to do and you just don't know where to start, like, yeah, hop in here and we'll help send you in the right direction at the very least. I do like to think, and I think I've set that up, but I think the energy in here when you leave, even if you came in feeling overwhelmed, by the time you leave, you should leave feeling inspired again. And if you're inspired, then you're enthused. And if you're enthused, then you're motivated. So you can climb the hill that you felt like you were at the bottom of, you know, and that you are very much worth your talent, your experience, you as a person. What you bring has value, and whatever that is, whether it's a craft or a skill or a whatever, but it's, don't be bashful. Own your worth and be confident in what you charge. That's a big one that comes in the door here a lot is that uncertainty about what to charge, or if they feel like that kind of imposter syndrome, you know, where it's like, well, I do that, but I don't like do that, right? Like I didn't go to school for it or something. Well, that's not the end all be all. And at least explore it, and then you can say you did. And whether you decide to get into it big time or not at all, or you just call it a phase, that's your decision to make. So do it. Perfect.
Well, there you are. Let's just do, you can all do it. We all can do it. Krista Lemke from the Hub, from Flon, and we're so happy to honor her for International Women's Week.
Well, I'm flattered that you asked.
And have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Business, and we're going to be interviewing Cathy Lofgren, who's a very, very well-known businesswoman in our area, and we have a few questions for her today. So, Cathy, what inspired you to get into business?
What inspired me to get into business? I think my husband was a little bit influential in that area, and then once we started, you really enjoy the people, the freedom, the decision making. And in this town, it's a great place to do business, and all your customers are your friends.
What successes are you most proud of, and what challenges have you overcome?
Successes that in business, you know what? I was counting the other day. We've been through 120 staff members through our businesses. Some of our young people started at 13 and go off to graduate. Some people are still with me after 16 years. Just watching people grow, seeing what they can do, how to challenge them, being a part of making them something more than when they started. That's a really good feeling. Challenges? Well, the last year's been a challenge, but you know what? We've kind of rose to that, and I'm really proud again of my staff. And maturity. You learn along the way. You learn what works and what doesn't work for your community, for your businesses. You're always thinking.
What advice do you have for upcoming entrepreneurs?
Advice for entrepreneurs. Make sure you're doing what you like. Make sure it's your passion. They always say your passion, but you have to like behind the scenes what you're doing. And there's a lot of aspects to business. Pick the one that you like, and there's always someone you can find to help to do the things you don't like, but your energy that you give to everything you do will come across to your customers, to your tenants, to your employees. It will make it a good environment to work, to live, and it always shows through, and the results come along with doing something you like.
And I have one more question, maybe we'll tag to the very first one, was inspired you. Like, how many businesses do you have? Like, what are you?
Right now?
Yeah, I don't
Right
know.
now, I have the dollar store. We have a rental business that we have. We own VA Plumbing and Heating and all-season contracting. Through the years, we started Lloydie's Corner Store. That was an adventure. You learned along the way. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun, and next chapter of our lives are coming.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. So again, that's our wonderful Cathy Lofgren, and I want to thank her for being part of this, and of course the International Women's Week supporters, the Women's Resource Center, for inspiring us for this celebration of women in our lives.